Zoom.
Yep.
Hey, Mick, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but Judge Bates said that Travis, his deputy judge, is going to try to join in by Zoom.
Okay, great.
I don't know if it'll still give us a quorum or not, but
Orion, should we start with just trying to do the safety committee meeting, I guess, for Trimble County? Okay. Well, it's it's 11 after,
Yeah,
so
definitely need to consider people's time.
yeah.
You want me to,
Well, I don't know if
how we wanna do it? Just talk about it?
we could start with the
Jump into it?
introductions, I guess, since
Yeah.
we do have two guests in the room.
Sure.
Thank you guys for coming. Trimble County, even though it has the smallest population of the 16 jurisdictions we're doing, they actually have the highest fatality rate. So it's very important that for this program for Trimble County, and really glad that you guys could make it today. I'm Nick Logston. I'm a transportation planner with KIPTA. Spencer, you know.
Spencer Williams, I'm also a transportation planner. Ethan Trotty, Captain, Dustin Duncan, Captain.
Ryan Lipke with the Triple S Planning Commission of Shelby County.
Will McCoy, Director of Transportation. Chief of Bedford Fire. And I'm Andrew Stark, I'm the EM.
Okay. Thank you, Will and Andrew. Yeah, we have cookies. So this is the first of 3 safety meetings. Hopefully we have better attendance at the other ones, but we're anticipating one in November 2024 and February 2025. The Safe Streets and Roads for All program is a federal grant with 2 phases. The first phase, which we're in, is developing safety action plans, which includes input from different perspectives of the community and the goal of reducing road injuries and fatalities. The second phase is anticipated for next year, which we would apply for funds for implementations based on those safety action plans. The safety committee has a role in both the development and the implementation phase, and the ultimate goal is to reduce the traffic deaths and serious injuries to 0. So we have a handout with some general information about the program. And then we also have maps that were provided by our consultants, which is HDR and Palmer. One of them is for Trumbull County. And we have a first map. It's a heat map with all the crashes. You'll see it's concentrated up and where the population's concentrated. And it's also a lot on the state road there, in US 421. The crashes are rated on scales of severity. There's fatal crashes, suspected serious injury, suspected minor injury, and possible injury and property damage only. These crashes include all those, including ones with vehicles, bicycles, and pedestrians. Then we have a second map that's on the reverse of it. And this shows fatalities and serious injury. In Trumbull County, there were 15 fatalities and 13 of them were roadway departure. So with most of them being roadway departure, I was going to share some countermeasure data from FHWA. There's some things like wider edge lines of 6 inches instead of 4 inches. That improves visibility and has a 37% reduction of fatal injury crashes on 2-lane roads. There's also rumble strips that can be milled or rolled in along the shoulders to alert an inattentive driver that they're leaving the roadway. You can combine the wider edge lines and the rumble strips together. In curves, installing chevrons on 2-lane roads has a 16% reduction in fatal injury crashes. And there's also high friction surface treatments that can also help give drivers more control, especially in curves.
We've had high friction,
Mhm.
and when they repave, they take it out.
Okay, yeah,
So we're fighting a losing battle every time that we repave the roadways.
okay. Well, if you know of certain spots where it needs high friction treatment added back in, we have a writing exercise. Does anyone need a pen? I'll grab you one here. So this meeting packet has got 4 colored boxes here. It's for vehicle safety, pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, and other safety concerns. So for our exercise today, we were going to take a few minutes and write out of our ideas. You don't have to fill in every box, just the ones you have ideas on. If you need more room, on the back page, there's a whole page that you can fill up. So we'll take a few minutes, and it looks like Judge Ogburn is probably going to be coming in shortly.
If you look at the fatality map.
Yes,
So 421, local to Henry County, the 2 right there, that is where high friction surfacing used to be.
okay. Yes, these crashes are from 2018 to 2022, so it's a little bit dated. This is a 5-year window. So that 15 fatalities, that's 3 fatalities a year. So we definitely want, yeah, I see where you said near Henry County, those 2 fatalities?
Yeah.
Okay,
That used to be high friction surfacing, and they took that out.
They just pay.
that's on 421.
Yes.
Can you describe what the high friction compound is? Is it like a spray?
Yeah.
What, like that part?
The sand is like putting sandpaper down. That's what we mean.
What's the lifespan of it? Does it wear away after a while? You have to constantly reapply it, or?
They had it for a while. I mean, it was probably there for at least 5 years. So
Yeah, it can last a while. A lot of time, no plows mess it up pretty bad too. Depending. Like I was, but
On them, or that had happened in the last couple of years, make sure you let them know.
Yeah.
Accurate data.
It's on a private drive.
Interstates, we're definitely not doing. Private drives, probably not doing either.
the far left north one is that's
Okay,
The piers. That we do to the furthest north along the river,
mm-hmm.
sit right at the river.
do all these maps look accurate? Like, does that look like where a lot of the issues are? Yeah, because if you look at the other one too, the one with the heat map, that's all crafted, so that includes like all your fender benders and everything like that. Of course, as expected, Bedford and Milton, you know, pop up the most. Doesn't seem accurate too, of course, down by the interstate.
That's the only two intersections. You know, the one in Milton is Highway 36 and 411. Bedford is either 421, 42, or the opposite, 42. Because there's two 422 intersections.
Yeah, so Judge Ogburn, there's two maps. One of them shows all the crashes with a heat map. And then there's the fatalities. And we said that there was, in this 5-year period, there was 15 fatalities. But most of them, 13 of them were roadway departures. So we've been talking a little bit about roadway departures.
Way to the north.
Yeah, east of, I don't know, what's that event space called right there in the river?
Richwood.
West of that.
That's west of it up there,
Okay.
but in between there and Milton, basically.
Yes, one of those on the bridge. Gotcha.
One, what was it? 3 weeks ago. Yeah. 1st of July was a pedestrian strike. Right beside the bridge.
Okay.
And one of the things we looked at, talked to you, Doug Albert, was, you know, trying to see like the state of origin of some of the driving through the crash. I know Trimble County's, when we looked at the data dashboard, which we don't have right now, but, at one of our last meetings that we had access to the consultant had the data dashboard, and they were showing it off, but one of the things that was kind of different in Trimble County, unlike a lot of the other counties and kind of like nationwide, is the peak of crashes is like in the summertime, whereas in most of the United States, it's in October when the time changes and it gets darker. So that was kind of almost seemed to match, like a lot of people that are coming in maybe to, you know, go on vacation or, you know, something like that, coming through the area, traveling through.
A lot of driving to visit Madison during their festivals and stuff. God, Aqua. Things that they have, right? That's the reason for the spike on the sunset.
I think Henry County kind of matched that a little bit too, because they have the Renaissance. Yeah, so it kind of, though, you know, Trimble and Henry seemed like that was the most different compared to the rest of all the counties. Stood out. Trimble County.
Well, also, both counties are mainly agricultural. You're having tractors and farm equipment slowing highway speeds. Coming up on,
Yeah,
we've had several incidences where tractors drive us and. So,
yeah, I know, like some of the most, I just went to an Indiana thing, the other day. Their second highest, I think, fatality, like cause of fatalities is, and usually it's number one in most states, is roadway departures, which you get a lot more in rural areas. So, you know, some of these are probably that as well, and whether it's, you know, distracted driving, causing someone to run off the road, or driving too fast, especially if you're not from around the area. Deer strikes, things like that, or avoiding a deer. And sometimes that doesn't show up in the data. Why did this person run off the road? Well, if they didn't hit it, you don't know they didn't hit it, but they know they passed away in the accident. You'll never know, I guess, but I grew up in Spencer County, so I know it's, you know, animals, a big issue when it comes to things like that. I think one of the key things that we're trying to look for, you know, like the things we want written in the box, or maybe the things that are hard for us as planners and engineers to see from the data. It's easy to see something like a lot of things like with the vehicle you know, what was the time of day, things like that, but the hard things to see are things like, you know, where are all the near misses that like maybe doesn't have a fatality, but you all know that it's just a dangerous spot, or where are the, you know, near misses with animals, where are the dangerous spots for students? I know like a lot of, you know, like one of the things that you guys want is a sidewalk, you know, to where the school is. Things like that, though, the stuff that's hard to, you know, hard to get data on, where does water run across the road and like it gets real slick and real bad, or where does it get real icy in the winter, or like where's the angle, the grade of the road bad, you know, it's hard to get that data sometimes, so those are the comments that are really good, you know, to at least put in the data, because they can at least take a second look, like, hey, maybe, you know, maybe the characteristics of these types of curves and these spots are bad. And, you know, adding in that missing piece of information, you know, maybe it's water pooling, because every time I'm driving home, you know, lately, I've been almost like noticing it more like, okay, every time I come home and it's raining real bad, like this is where water's running across the road for whatever reason. Maybe that drain right there is just messed up, or maybe it needs more drainage. So, you know, the funds that we get, or hopefully we get from this process, can be used for a lot of different stuff, a lot of different things. I think, like, you know, for example, wastewater is one that like people don't think about, but you know, better drainage can be a safer road too. So any kind of safety thing, you know, can be used for that.
In Shelby County, they were talking about awareness programs for pedestrians to wear more visible clothing and for drivers not to use their cell phones.
Yeah.
But
You know, and then the future of these meetings are, you know, when we met with Shelby County the other day, the last week, you know, we talked about things that also weren't necessarily SS4A related, but you know, are still important, and it got everybody in the room that kind of talks about this safety stuff and deals with this safety stuff every day. So one of the things we talked about was, what's a better way in the future we could come up with some kind of plan of how do we redirect semis in a better way to US 60 instead of them taking little county roads that don't make any sense, but their GPS is telling them to go that way. They were planning on going on the interstate the whole time. That's always you know, we hope good things like that come out of these meetings as well. You know, they're not just, you know, it's not just SS4A, it's also any safety thing, especially anything involving roads or emergency strategies or, you know, whatever it is. So,
Then the other day, we had the KYTC permitted a oversized load. And they sent them across 264 to 42. Brought a loader all the way through Goshen, Brownsboro to Goshen, up 42. Well, when it got to Bedford, it hit a guide pole or a guide wire on the power line, snapped the pole off the ground and shut the road down for how many hours? 6. Yeah.
oh wow,
Which all they would have to do is run up 71. It was going to Nugent Sand in Milton. So run up 71, get off in English and come across that way, and they'd been right at Nugent's back door. So,
yeah.
I don't know who's permitting, but they need to look at the maps better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, the main thing for us is like this 421 coming from Campbellsburg to Bedford. There's a real bad set of curves there that needs to be addressed. Probably, I know there was an item in the list of road projects. That's one of them, to straighten that section. And then the other one is down here, taking that 93 curve out down there. Really a whole new bridge approach, because there's some slide river. But, and then widen to 36. Once that curve is taken out, then they're at the bottom of the hill, and then widen the road all the way out to the county. So, and then we do have some of the rumble, I heard that conversation, we do have some of the rumble stripes on some of the roads,
Mhm.
but they're not on all of them. So, and then this 421 corridor, we've had a commercial nursery buy the majority of this property here. We did get the state to put them some signs up, you know, because they use a lot of tractors and they drive them on the road. The state only did put some signage up for them through those areas. But there's a lot of other roads that we needed too, because they're buying up so much property. Well, Andrew, you all see this stuff firsthand every day, so.
I mean, definitely looking at the 93 there. It's very problematic.
Buildings like right there.
That is, in the 6-year highway plan, but I think it's not till 2028 for that to get fixed. So unfortunately, there is money earmarked for that but for 4 years out.
Shows on the heat map, you know, that, and it could be something that gets fixed potentially faster. You know, if it pops up and, because because essentially what we're doing is we're creating 17 of these, you know, action plans, safety action plans, and Trimble County will get their own action plan. They'll have, you know, 20 of their own projects that, you know, that could be taken to this SS4A implementation grant program and applied for and get money that way. So even though it doesn't have funding with the state plan, it could be something, and other areas identified throughout Trimble County and every county could be applied for funds that way. So it could be fixed faster that way.
I know. Judge, did you see my email about the rural municipal aid program? Has a couple opportunities. There's the narrow bridge there, I think, is probably on a state route there that you are talking about up in the north part. So that city county bridge program probably wouldn't work for that. But if you do have any local bridges, there's 25 million available for that. And then they're doing a priority projects program where they take applications, and then the legislature will actually go through those in 2025 to allocate money in 2026. But if you want to apply for any county level things there's a deadline of October the 15th for that. Okay, great, yeah.
You said that per capita out of these 3 counties, we were the highest,
Out of the 16 jurisdictions.
16.
So this program's including even some places in Indiana, and Trimble County had the highest per capita fatality rate.
So that being said, is that going to help us move forward faster? Yes.
In terms of faster, everyone's on the same cycle because they have annual cycles of these grants. And the implementation plan, the safety action plan won't be available till next year. So we'll be applying for a grant next year, and then we would get the money hopefully in 2026. So you're not looking at any money before 2026 at the earliest, no matter how great the need is, unfortunately.
I think it makes your argument stronger when you're talking about writing grants and trying to get funding for these projects. If you say, it's the highest fatality rate in the 16 jurisdictions in our region. That's
Definitely worth mentioning.
Yeah, it's a good talking point when you're putting that into the grant applications, is that appeal to like a sense of urgency, and USDOT, when you're putting that, they want to see the largest impact projects get funded. So.
Gonna say this probably, we would have helped our raise grant application if we had available work back.
So, and we actually put some of this information in our ATIP application, because we had some preliminary data, so we actually put this in there.
I'll be right back. I got an item over there too, so.
Okay.
I shouldn't take 2 minutes.
Thanks, Spencer.
Yeah, I'll be right back. If you have any questions, then you can email Vic or me. Yeah, I mean, there's almost too much about all this SS4A stuff to go over in the little bit of time we have, but you know, hope that we can address as many safety issues in all the counties, no matter how big or small they are, so. But like I said, I'll try to come back and see.
So, next question, those 16 jurisdictions are.
Right, yes, yeah.
Where do we stack them? Statewide?
I don't know if you know, but I would assume you're relatively high, because I mean, it was not.
It was close, yeah, it was very high compared to all the other jurisdictions. but I don't have state level data.
So now's the time to apply for the grant, matching fund.
That's true too.
When you're talking, like cost benefit analysis, and when you have that, like pedestrian deaths, that greatly increases, or any kind of fatality, it greatly increases the way you score cost benefit analysis, which will make it more likely for that project to get funded.
Did these maps go more granular to, going into Bedford and?
The consultants have a dashboard with Power BI that they can zoom in and get information on time of day, whether the sun was in their eyes. It's almost too much data. It's, but, hopefully.
It just shows.
Yeah.
Intersection, that's not what I.
Exactly.
So you need to make sure
It's this intersection.
the data that we need, if we're. Tell your therapy department how important it is, they get everything correct. That's good.
So unfortunately, there's only 215 that would be on the county roads and the city roads. The rest of them are all state. Because the only ones I see on this map are the one that's on the private road and then the one that's on whatever that road is before, where. Yeah. And Milton, yeah. So it should be one. It's named after.
I think there's gonna be a lot of options, hopefully to collaborate with KYTC. They put up the match for this first phase. And then how the match works in the second phase is it's 80-20, but currently there's a state matching program and Trumbull County falls in the 2% bracket. So your all's match goes all the way down to 2% if you get that state level grant. And hopefully KYTC, Nathan is on I'm not sure if Nathan has any information, but if their improvements on KYTC roads and they're getting 80% to start with, I hope that they would be able to kick in some on that.
Hey, Mick, it depend on the project and the roadway and the funding source, but you're obviously more than I've ever seen. KYTC's been trying to be more partners with local governments and so there's always possibility.
Okay, great.
In the Safe Streets and Roads for All implementation applications, when that comes out, are some of these projects that are programmed out? Would there be enough funding in the implementation section to be able to possibly get it funded quicker through a grant application, or is it better to just keep it, wait till 2028 for that project?
Oh, for things already in the 6-year highway plan? I would say go ahead and try for the grants for things that are 4 to 6 years out, because the highway plan is done on a biennial basis, and something that is scheduled 4 years out in 2 years could become another 4 years out. They could kick the can down the road essentially. So if something shows up on Safe Streets and Roads for All that is also in the 6-year highway plan, I would say that we should go ahead and go for it with Safe Streets and Roads for All as well, to increase the odds of that getting done quicker.
What I'm gonna tell him, if you look at the heat map. So yes, speed is obviously a factor. But if you look at where there are no incidents, it's the straightaways. It's mainly curves.
Curves.
Cause if you look like right in front of where the park is, right after where it turns and makes a straight line up toward the EMS. You know, which we would expect there not to be a wreck, but that's meaning that the wrecks are occurring in curves. So I know more often, and I know, and this is probably even more than, you know, way past this study, even before friction pavement, but I know the state used to bank curves more often, and now they're not banking curves. Cause I know the one past Midway was banked for a long time, it had a slow turn, but now it's just flat. No,
With the reasoning for that, it's like, it's a paving or something, I think.
Lines the road out, more pay, more move. Or something like this.
This is kind of like arbitrary, but I have a newer car and it has like a lane keeping system, and one thing that's interesting about it is. If I'm, you know, I was driving on a newly paved road that hadn't been painted yet, well, you can't see the lanes. So like it doesn't auto correct, so like if you have a section that's not like well painted, and I'll be in a section where lanes that are painted, but they're faded. And it can't read it, so it's not gonna auto correct and keep you on the road. So like, I don't know if like every company's system, like lane keeping system is like that, but I know Nissan is, and I know Ford is.
There's a comment map that is open to the public. And some of the comments, I think at least one of them in Trumbull County was, we need striping on this road. So I think there's some roads that have no striping at all. That may need striping.
who did the paving, but I know from time 42, whenever it rained, the road and the striping blended together. You couldn't, and so at night, you couldn't see the striping.
I think they've since corrected it.
Yeah, I think they fixed that, yeah. I know that was an issue for a while, you couldn't see during the rain. Need that glow in the dark or anything.
Well, Ryan, without a quorum present, we can't go over any of the other
I don't
items.
say we can't take any action on it, any other, we can do county transportation update, but. which I'm- So did you show off this, so, I mean, I'm fine, if you, we need to try to
No, I haven't.
help get some comments on the Trumbull County project here and make sure they can facilitate that a little better.
Yeah, I think that's all we can do is just, and then we'll have to try to get, Henry and Spencer for their safety meetings at some point too. Which, I'll get with the judges and see if we can schedule that. It's almost, we're wanting them by September 1st, which now, is gonna be hard to do.
We can, I think.
There is?
Yeah, that's the goal, but I think, you know, they built in some extra times. I know sometimes it's hard to get, you know, meeting on the books at that short notice.
I can pull it up on the,
There's a link that you can put out there for the public.
Oh, yeah. Also, I think some of these campuses.
yes, there's a QR code.
Yeah.
Your road department was stating or someone, like there's a comment on them, and you knew your road department had on the list next, that you could go in there and say, this is scheduled to be, so it would take care of their comment.
Yeah, so you can himself, like, no one said anything about it, they're like, hey, we're adding some new stop signs in this spot, we're gonna be doing some road striping in December, or, you know, in November 2024.
I felt like the government and the community
Yeah.
that you're looking at, you already know it's a problem.
we had a couple of comments related to traffic to the power plant. Going out to the, it's all the commercial vehicles traveling. It looks like it's when you get off the main road. And then there was a comment real close to the That's a narrow road with, the concrete trucks going to the power plant.
And it would be a good spot.
Like directly east of that purple, there's an iron concrete.
Okay.
There's a concrete place too as well, okay. So yeah, so you got some commercial traffic going through there, where it looks like there might not be, wide enough roads for it. Then of course the pedestrian issues in Bedford, which we know about.
Sidewalks.
Yeah, sidewalks to the school, which is, we've known about. And some other road improvements here. This one, I think, is the one that said, Bell's Ridge needs curves marked better and lines painted on the road. The curves, those chevrons are real cheap, and striping, I know, adds up the longer you do it, but it's one of the least,
State roads.
that's a state road there, okay.
And that's okay, but you don't have to, I think that we had to clarify that with another constituency. You don't have to own the road at all. You really like, because, for example, like any KYTC owned roads. You have to work with them to do some things on it, but they're not allowed to apply for any of this money at all. And so it's supposed to be only for like local communities, like they want the big purpose of the program is they really want like kind of that local control of the dollars, because I feel like they feel like that kind of gets where the issues are sometimes a little better.
Somebody somewhere else picking what road's gonna be.
Cause they get a lot of money.
Yeah.
They get tons of pools of money, and they do try to do a good job of putting in places for people, but they've got a whole state, and some of the projects are real expensive. This is a good way to get maybe some of those cheaper places.
This says Palmyra Road needs to be as good a shape as Kings Ridge is. And this one is the intersection. It says the intersection needs a flashing light or a four-way stop.
Like, hey,
Turn lane there.
The turn lane,
That's what they're supposed
that would help too.
to.
Yeah, that was when we had all the traffic, dirty. That's when they decided to put that in.
Okay.
Bedford County judge got that one.
Is there anything more to that?
yeah, so what's it built?
No, there's no comments in Milton.
I mean, that could be a perfect one for like, you might just see one pop up later. This bridge is, but we can try to take some of the ones we hear in these meetings and put them on the map. But like,
Maybe south of that.
No. Not till you get down, past the county line.
yeah, and something I always say too, and I just said it in that meeting over there. You could put comments anywhere you want too, as long as, even if it's not in one of the counties, but if you go to Henry County every day and pick up your kid from elementary school, like, you could stick one there too, it's okay, I grew up in Spencer County, but I live in Jefferson County now, but like, I put a couple, I know like out by my parents, like this spot's the bad area, or this, I know these roads really well, so I know this spot right here is too narrow, the bridge, the way too narrow or something, so, you can stick them. Even though we're not on the interstate, we just want it to be a matter of public record, like I-71 right here sucks. You could put it there, too, like.
There'd be a lot of comments.
Oh, yeah, so that's one thing, this doesn't look at interstates, but sometimes it can still be like, hey, we know this didn't look at interstates, but we're fine with this money later for something else. In this plan, a bunch of people pointed this out, so even though it wasn't part of that plan. That's 10 comments. Actually about it. Let's look what it is.
If you guys don't mind, I'll go ahead and collect the boxes, and if you wrote anything on this part. That's okay. I appreciate you guys coming.
Yeah.
Missing on such a beautiful day too.
For me, you know, but, but we're out
Yeah.
on first. Goes back to, yeah.
That false flag. I think it's actually your fault. You like, you changed.
Elizabeth, I think we could probably stop recording. I guess we'll call this an adjournment.